Let's go ahead and get this started. So here we are, the ESO Vodcast. Don't know what number this is, but today we will be going over the Nightblade class skills and their passives and doing a little bit of theory crafting when it comes to that, figuring out what's the best skills, the best passives, and how we might use them in certain scenarios. So we'll have fun, and we're going to have a good time doing this. Let's talk a little bit about Tamriel Foundry and stuff with them. Why don't you go ahead, Soma?
Yeah, guys. So anyone that hasn't visited TamrielFoundry.com, go ahead and hit that up ASAP. I'm going to type in the chat actually right now. Tamriel Foundry. Getting my letters together to form words. There we go. Okay. This is the last of the 4 class skill videos that we've put together. There's still the Dragon Knight, the Templar, and the Sorcerer that you guys can go watch if you have not yet. You can find all links to that on Tamriel Foundry or youtube.com/TamrielFoundry, youtube.com/HD Soma, or youtube.com/Crames21, CRAMES 21. Those are all the YouTube channels where you can find the videos. Deagen and I now are partnered up with Tamriel Foundry. Anyone that didn't know that. So go ahead and make sure to watch those 3 other videos on any of those YouTube channels that I just mentioned to make sure you guys are good to go. But yeah, now we're down to the last class, the Nightblade, Deagy.
Yep, the original class that I kind of originally wanted to play. Now that we've gone over all of the other class skills and passives, I am a little bit more on the fence of what I want to play.
Go figure. I hear you.
I think I still am going to go Nightblade. I really do. I think I'm still going to go Nightblade, but it's a good sign that I'm kind of undecided a little bit. It's a good sign, though. It shows that just by even reading the skills and kind of talking about how they might be used can maybe change the way you're kind of thinking already. So
right. You saw me with Templar. I was shooting nerd loads over the Templar, but I'm still going to stay with the Dragon Knight.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not going to cheat.
Templar, oh my gosh. Even Sorcerer, too. Sorcerer was really fun.
Sorcerer's going to be my ult. I'm making a Sorc ult for sure. That's going to be my ult.
I feel like that ability with the Sorcerer where you drop the mines in front of you is going to be like so much fun to use.
Daedric mines,
and all the teleports and knockbacks you have with that class. Oh my gosh. It's gonna
I
be
like
crazy
the pet. I like to have pet, Deagen.
Oh man.
We ain't got no pets with the Nightblade though. Let's do it.
Let's do it. You want to take the first tree?
Well, let me go over the 3 trees, and then you can go with the first tree. But let me go over the first. Let me go over the 3 trees we have, guys.
Do it up.
So the first tree we have here is Assassination. Now, this tree is fantastic for straight up DPS and getting to your target and taking people down.
It is a single target burst spec is what I get from this.
Absolutely. If you're trying to close distance, if you're trying to get up close and take down a single target especially, and not get hit in the process, Assassination is going to be the tree for you if you want to do that, especially single target DPS.
Yeah, single target's going to be insane with this.
Yeah, that's Assassination. The next tree is Shadow. Now, as you might think, based on the name of that tree, it's for folks that want to go the stealthy, invisibility, I don't want to be seen route. There is, I wouldn't say a ton of damaging abilities in this particular tree. There is a couple, but really this is more of a utility tree. There's even a pet. There's even a pet skill in the Shadow tree, but we will go over that very soon. I love the Shadow tree quite a bit.
Yeah, it seems like it's going to be really fun.
My favorite one, though, is the Siphoning tree, and this is the damage over time tree. Still pretty much single target, but there's some crowd control and stuff, too. This is damage over times, and as you can tell from the word siphoning, a way to kind of get your health back up.
Resources and everything. There's a lot of resource gaining abilities with this.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that there's some tanking potential with Nightblade too, and heavy armor and with sword and board. I don't know. We'll get to that later though. But yeah, we have siphoning, shadow, and assassination. And what do we got for assassination, Deegan?
Okay. So we'll start out with the ultimate. The ultimate is called Death Stroke. Deals damage to your target, reduces their incoming healing. The damage dealt is increased by your ultimate pool. So, yeah. That seems like it's going to do a lot of damage and pretty much negate healing on a target that you hit. It is single target, though. Again, this tree is very, very single target. So the ultimate pretty much plays right into that too.
Damage dealt is increased by your ultimate pool. That is awesome. So let's say you have the ability to use Deathstroke. Let's say all of a sudden it flashes on your bar that yes, now you can use it, your ultimate is charged. You don't have to use it though. You can wait longer and build up more ultimate and then double the damage. Who knows how much damage actually you could really build up from it.
I feel like it's going to hit really hard.
Yeah, especially people that max out their ultimate and wait to spend it. It's going to be crazy.
You will not want to fight a You're not going to want to fight a Nightblade in like a 1v1 if it's just going to be hard for anybody. If
unless you can heal or
tank. You're hurt.
Yeah, unless you can heal or tank and mitigate that damage well, I think one-on-one situations in PvP, the Nightblade is going to be key.
Well,
he's going to be the king.
It says heal through that damage, but it reduces their incoming healing, and we don't know how long that debuff is going to last on somebody either. It could be 5 seconds, it could be 10 seconds. I have no idea.
That's a good point. And we don't even know how long it's going to be, yeah, but we don't know how much either. 30%, 40%, 50%.
I feel like an ultimate that's single target, it's going to be high. I'm thinking like 50% at least. Maybe even more. For a single target ultimate, yeah.
And based on the fact that it reduces incoming healing, it's definitely a PvP ability too. Definitely a PvP ability. Anytime you see reduction in incoming healing, you can pretty much guarantee that's for players. Sure, you could be fighting a boss in a PvE dungeon that's being healed, and maybe that'll reduce his healing too.
Yeah.
But we don't really know the
PvE, but it's a PvP ability.
It's a PvP ability, yeah.
And everybody knows in PvP the team that wins is the team that either has crazy crowd control or the team that has higher burst, and this is a burst ability through and through.
And there's always, of course, the backbone of, do you have a good healer? Healing in PvP is so underutilized. It really is. A lot of people just want to Zerg, but can't do that. Anyway, okay.
The first active is called Assassin's Blade. Deals moderate damage with a large damage multiplier when used against low health enemies.
Like an execute, pretty much.
Pretty much. I mean, we don't know how low the health is going to be. I would assume probably 20%. This is usually like, I don't know, 20, 30%.
Yeah, you can actually use this ability. A lot of people have already seen this ability, like in the some of the ESO game footage that's been put up on YouTube and whatnot, and anyone that's played it at PAX for longer than 20 minutes, maybe 20 minutes of gameplay, you will see this ability if you played a Nightblade. And it basically, the animation is like this red slash that kind of appears on the target that you're attacking, and it does a decent amount of damage. It's not much though, but if they are below a certain amount of health, let's just say for shits and gigglers, 20%.
Yeah.
Once they're below 20%, you cast this ability on them, it pretty much will kill them, unless they're a tank with a huge health pool. That they might not die from it, but it increases the damage by, I think, more than triple, more than double, probably more than triple. It's a huge amplifier. So this is your finishing move, and who knows how it's going to morph.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe the range will increase, or maybe you'll be able to strike more than one foe, or maybe the multiplayer will be increased, or maybe it'll be if you're 30% lower instead of 20% or whatever.
Yeah, that would be cool too. Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
A pretty simple ability, really, but it makes sense for like a
Great
single target
finisher.
burst,
Great.
roguish type character. So, cool ability nonetheless. All right, the next active is Teleport Strike. Teleport directly to your target, dealing damage and stunning them for a short duration. Now,
Powerful.
I have to talk about this ability because
You love it.
this ability right here is literally the ability that when I watched one of the first gameplay videos released for ESO, this ability was in there. It wasn't like a first person view of it or a third person view of it. It was somebody else, and then you saw the Nightblade walk up and do this teleport strike, and you could see it on your screen. And he like vanishes in this puff of smoke, and then a puff of smoke like behind the enemy, and it just looked so sexy.
They did a great job with it. Yeah,
It really does. It really feels like this ability was like, what do we really want to make look really nice for the Nightblade to start off with, and then we'll keep building up other things. But I saw this ability and I was like, holy crap, that looked amazing. So what a great ability though too, especially for anybody that wants to. What's great about this ability too is it's got a stun, which basically guarantees you're going to hit your next ability.
I know.
And they're not going to be able to move.
I can't imagine it's a very long stun, considering the fact that you're teleporting to them from.
Well, it says short duration. I would assume like maybe a second and a half tops. But that's fine because what that does is you stun them, and then you pretty much get a free shot on them before they can do anything.
Yeah, really,
It's gonna be great.
You could teleport, strike, stun them, smack them with whatever you want to do, and then go invisible, puff out, and then just walk away again. They wouldn't even hit you. Teleport strike is bread and butter for PvP Nightblades, straight up. If you're a melee Nightblade, that is. Teleport
it's just perfect. You got the gap closer with it. You got a stun. You got the damage. It's gonna be awesome.
And then
it looks sexy. It
looks sexy, and after you've done a bunch of damage, you can just Assassin's Blade them right there and kill them.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome.
Great ability. All right, the next active, Blur, a medium duration self buff that gives attackers a percentage-based miss chance when attacking the Nightblade. Now, the great thing about this ability is it is a percentage-based miss chance. It's not a flat rate, which I love. I love that they make it a percentage base, even if it's 20%, 25%. I would assume it's decently high. I can't imagine it's going to be broken.
I can't imagine it to be over 20%. That's pretty high.
20% would be fun. I don't know how long it's going to last. This is medium duration. When I think medium duration, I think maybe like 10 seconds, 10, 15 seconds.
Yeah, same here. Anywhere between 5 and 15 seconds. I think that potentially Blur, if you slap heavy armor and a sword and shield on a Nightblade, this is one ability that you could use for tanking. And there's other abilities you guys will see later on that Nightblade could actually be a tank, and that's so cool. But I really like this ability a lot. I don't see a lot of Nightblades using it. Some people are just going to want to be straight DPSers. But your smarter Nightblades that are a little more tactical, want to have a little bit more survivability, will be utilizing Blur, especially when they're getting jumped by another Nightblade or a Dragonite pulls them too close or what have you not. Blur.
Think about it. Even if you can,
definitely save some.
Even if you can dodge 2 attacks out of 5, maybe even less than that. Dodge 1 attack out of 5. That 1 attack might be the change from death and you killing your enemy. So.
Absolutely.
We'll have to see the final numbers on Blur, but I feel like it could be a situational ability. I don't feel like it'll be on every Nightblade's bar, but it could be strong in certain scenarios, and we don't know how it's going to morph. The morphing could be crazy. Yeah, we don't know how it's going to morph either, so.
I can see in morphing to like increase movement speed or, now, okay, attackers have a percentage-based chance to miss, and then it morphs to, okay, they still have a chance to miss, and you're 20% faster for the duration or something like that.
You know what would be really neat if it morphed into? If for every dodge that you got while the duration was active, you gained like X amount of critical strike chance or something.
That would be potent.
It would be cool though, right?
That would be cool, yeah. Or
It
like
wouldn't be
extra
like
power.
crazy. You mean not like make it like 5% every dodge? Because say the buff lasts for 15 seconds and you dodge 3 times in 15 seconds. Say you got 3% crit or something every time you
Hmm.
dodged. I think that would
Right.
be fun, and people would probably still use it then.
Yeah, people would definitely use it. I mean, I would use it. I mean, if I was a Nightblade, which I don't plan on playing a Nightblade for quite a while. Blur, if I was going to be a PvP centric Nightblade, Blur would probably be on my second bar for sure. I would have that ready. Excuse me.
Yeah, cool ability. And then again, I think it's a little bit more situational than some of the other abilities, but
Right.
it's definitely got a spot. It's got a spot. All right, the next active, mark target. Place a mark on a high health target. While marked, you deal extra damage to the target. Killing the marked target will heal the Nightblade.
This is pretty awesome. Both PvE and PvP. You mark a boss, high health target, by the way. High health target. So here's the question. If you're targeting a player or an enemy that doesn't meet that high health requirement, is the skill just unusable? Is it grayed out?
This is
Unless
what I
you.
was just thinking too, because it seems like they put the emphasis on high health target.
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe you
And
won't be able to
and
use it on a lower health target.
I'm assuming it's because they don't want you to, as a Nightblade, to just mark a target of someone that's just about to die and then get like a quick heal. Like if you mark target someone that's at 10% health and then you just quickly Assassin's Blade them and kill them instantly, and then just to get that quick heal, and you're just like,
Right. Maybe like the target has to be above like 75% health or something in order to be marked. That would make more sense.
yeah, that would make sense.
It's probably, I would assume it's probably going to have some sort of a percentage that the target will have to be above in order for you to be able to mark them. I don't think it'll actually have anything to do with how much health the actual target has. So say a boss has 2,000 health, um, and then a guy next to him only has 100 health, but if they're both, at 100% HP, you could mark either one. I feel
Right.
like it's probably going to be a percentage thing.
The morphs could be really interesting too. Um, Killing a target will heal the Nightblade. I can see the morph changing what happens when you kill them. Like, what if, it morph to whenever you kill a target, the closest enemy is now marked or something like that. Like, so you don't have to recast it or something like that.
Yeah,
I can see something like that happening.
for sure.
Or maybe killing the marked target will heal the Nightblade and recover stamina or recover magic or something like that.
I feel like this is an ability that I would use, mark target, absolutely. Even
Oh yeah, that's
PvP,
great.
PvE. I mean, the fact that you get the extra damage is great. You mean one-on-one fight, boom, mark target instantly. You get extra damage on them, and then killing the target is great too, because even if you're like, okay, you're fighting a guy one-on-one and you have marked target on them, they're at like 50% health and you're at 50% health and you're fighting and someone else rolls up, so you got to get ready to fight the next guy if you're going to kill this guy. And if you got that marked target on, assassins blade them when they get low and kill them, and then get a little bit of your health back, get ready to fight the next guy. It'll give you that little bit of sustain that you might not have otherwise. I think that's going to be pretty awesome.
Yeah. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, for sure. All right, the next active, haste. Increase the attack speed of normal and power attacks for a moderate duration.
Must have.
That is, anytime you can get an attack speed steroid, and it doesn't say short duration either, which again makes me think
Moderate
it's going to be
duration.
10 to 15 seconds. Yeah.
That's a
You're gonna
must
want
for
it.
any DPS, Nightblade. I mean, sure, you're gonna see like Nightblades with like light armor and restoration staves and stuff like that in bows, but for those DPS guys with bows and dual wield and two-hand swords, because you'll probably see two-hand sword Nightblades too, teleporting around, increased attack speed. Imagine how good that haste could be. What if it morphs to something really powerful, and you can use two-hand weapons instead of dual wield or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, haste with a two-hander. Oh my lord! Imagine the possibilities. Oh,
it could be a
it's gonna
crazy
be
amount of
crazy.
DPS.
Yeah,
Crazy amount. There's a lot of. It's hard to think about what might haste morph into because it seems like such a basic thing. Increase your
Right.
attack speed. So
Yep.
how would you really morph
And
this?
for normal and power attacks, which is cool. Because
Right.
we all know power attacks, you have to hold down the left click to swing that power attack. So I wonder, and I wonder how that'll work actually. It's going to be interesting to see how much faster those power attacks are and how fast it'll be. Because combat in game doesn't seem like it's super. You're not like swinging the shit out of your sword super fast.
It's a little bit more tactical, yeah.
Yeah, so I'd like to see how fast haste will really make.
I feel
that
like
combat.
this would have to be quite a significant buff. It is the last active you unlock for assassination.
It's gonna be good. I'm assuming it's
So-
gonna be good.
I feel like it's going to have to be pretty significant attack speed buff, but we'll see. I feel like it's going to be strong, but I'll have to see the numbers on it, I guess. All right, the first passive, Master Assassin. Deal increased damage while stealth or invisible. Successful sneak attacks stun for longer.
Goddamn.
Yeah, that's stun luck.
Yeah. So, just like in Skyrim, you can stealth anywhere. You can just crouch down and go stealth, right? In ESO, and of course, a lot of people are going to be doing that. Not even Nightblades. I, as a tank, will be doing as much stealthing as I can to get extra damage in. But in Nightblade, they are meant to be stealthy. This is going to be a very, very important passive for if you want to be that stealthy guy. You don't have to be a stealthy Nightblade. You can be a tank or a frontline fighter or a healer, but if you do want to be a sneaky DPSer, which most people probably do for a Nightblade,
Yeah, if you're picking Nightblade, you're probably going to go that route.
yeah,
But some people
you're gonna want
will
Master Assassin.
we'll switch it up a little bit for sure. It's going to be, especially when we combine that passive with some of the other shadow, the shadow tree stuff. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, the next passive, Executioner. Killing an enemy with an assassination ability restores some magicka. Pretty similar passive we've seen on a lot of the other classes. Somewhat, you kill an enemy, you get a little bit of your magicka back. Pretty simple, but
Yeah,
still
that's
going to be
easy.
strong. It's going to be something you probably want for leveling, for sure.
Yep.
The next passive, Pressure Points. Increase the Nightblade's critical strike chance for every assassination ability on their current hotbar. Oh my dang, that's going to be sexy.
Yeah, so that's we've seen similar passives to this. I'm imagining 1 or 2 or 3% to your crit for every ability. Let's say you have Assassin's Blade and Teleport Strike on there. That's going to be 2, 3, 6% or something like that. 4% extra crit while you're on that hotbar that it's on. So, yeah, just a little bit extra critical damage. Nothing too crazy, but it's going to be good. Crit. I love crit, so yeah, that's a good one.
A very solid passive. Anytime you can increase your... I mean, if any class is based around crits and stuff, I would feel like that's going to be the Nightblade, so it makes sense if they have a critical strike passive. Right in the first tree, too, so...
Yeah.
All right, the next one, Hemorrhage. Increase the Nightblade's bonus critical strike damage for each assassination ability on the current hotbar. Pretty much exactly like Pressure Points, but instead of increasing your critical strike chance, it increases the bonus critical strike damage. Again,
Yeah.
pretty much goes hand in hand, kind of something you'd expect, but that's going to be good. I mean, think about somebody who goes just straight assassination abilities with a few weapon abilities. Their crits are going to be crazy high.
It's going to be awesome, man.
Crazy.
I can see people going the assassination route and kind of taking like a combat rogue route with it, where they have a high crit, high damage, not necessarily the sneakiest, stealthiest guy, but they're up there, in the front lines, dealing up as much damage as, say, like a Dragon Knight or a Templar, melee Templar would.
Yeah, I feel like
it's
you
gonna
could
be
build
cool.
like a semi-tanky Nightblade with a couple of the assassination abilities and maybe a couple of the other like AoE abilities with that are in the other trees that we'll go over here in a little bit, and just be like a really solid DPSer. Maybe not play like the whole sneaky Nightblade thing, but just be a really solid DPS and be a little bit tanky. It's gonna be pretty strong. All right, that's it for the assassination tree. Again, probably the highlight for me in this tree is teleport strike. I think it's going to be so much fun. It's gonna be awesome.
Teleport strike's awesome. Yeah, that's a pretty much a must for any melee Nightblade. You're gonna want it.
Yeah. All right, let's start with the next one. Let's go over the shadow tree.
All right. The ultimate for the shadow tree is Consuming Darkness, an AoE snare that renders the Nightblade invisible. Attacking an enemy removes the invisibility for a short time. Allies can activate the slip away synergy, also gaining invisibility. What?
Yeah! Visibility is awesome.
This is good for PvP and PvE. If you're about to wipe, you can hit the Consuming Darkness ultimate and hit the synergy and everyone goes invisible and you could possibly reset that boss fight and sneak away. So I'm already thinking about how I can utilize it in dungeons, but this is also good in PvP.
Think about this ability for like PvP though.
Like raiding, like if you're just a small group, like raiding a town or something like that, or a farm.
Okay, think about it in a 1v1 scenario, because it says if you use an ability, it removes invisibility for a short time, meaning you will go back into stealth. Now we don't know how long the Consuming Darkness is up and working, right. But you could potentially be in a 1v1 scenario where you might lose, and then you pop this and regen a little bit of your resources, come back in, poke at them, disappear again, come back in, poke at them. It's going to be a fun ultimate to use. And then again, in the group scenario with sieges and stuff like that, holy crap, this ability could be so fun. Like, imagine like two factions fighting, and you're like, all right, we're gonna flank these people, and we're gonna run in from the side, pop Consuming Darkness. Everybody's gonna sneak in and just crush like the side of the flank. Oh my god! Because
think about it, you could actually pop this Consuming Darkness while there's no enemies around, and just activate the. Maybe I don't know actually.
I don't know if it's like a huge like area that the Consuming Darkness can take place in, or if it's something that takes place around the Nightblade. I don't really know how that's gonna work.
That's true. If it's just around the Nightblade, point blank AoE pretty much. It'll be interesting if you can have people just stack up on them in PvP or PvE without enemies around. Use this ultimate to gain invisibility for the party and then move into where you want to go.
This ability reminds me a lot of Star Wars and the Concealment Operative. There's an ability he had, I can't remember exactly what it was called. It might have been called Conceal, to be honest. But basically, anybody that stood around him was stealthed. Now, the Concealment Operative could stay stealthed as long as he wanted to. But this ability allowed anybody that stood within, 10 feet of him or something like that to be stealthed with him for the next 10 seconds or something like that. And that was an AoE around him. Now, if it works like that, that would be cool. That would actually allow you to move into like a fight and, surprise attack somebody, or even move out of a fight if you had to move out of a fight. I'm not sure if it's going to be that way. I feel like it would probably be some sort of massive like AoE that you probably just put on the ground, and anybody in that area could activate the synergy.
Right.
But we don't know. Either way, that ultimate seems pretty fun and very useful. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, the first active is Shadow Cloak. Gain invisibility for a short duration. So this is, I've got threat, I don't want it. Let's go and let's get invisible and let the tank take over it. Or I am DPSing this guy right now. If I go invisible, I now get a sneak attack because I'm invisible and he can't see me. And sneak attack does extra damage like it always has in any TES game. Same with ESO. So now, and if you've been following along with the assassination passives, deal increased damage while stealth or invisible is the Master Assassin perk. So let's say you're in the middle of a fight one-on-one with a sorcerer, you're taking damage, you go invisible, you sneak up behind him, you get that, while you were in combat, you go invisible. Now you have another sneak attack, which is a bunch of DPS. You keep going invisible. I'm assuming the short duration means it's going to last like
3
less
seconds?
than
Probably
3 or
3
4,
seconds.
3 or 4 seconds. Just long enough to get behind your target and do what you got to do and get that extra damage. This is a good all-around ability. I think people are going to be like, why would I want to go invisible for 3 seconds only? That's dumb or whatever. Well, you can use this to get back into stealth, and it's going to be fantastic if used by the right person in PvP. PvE, I can see you using it, like soloing or whatever, trying to get threat off you, but PvP-wise, this is going to be invaluable, especially for melee
just
folks.
PvE going into dungeons and like stealthing all the way through to the final boss.
You could, maybe, who knows?
Maybe, we don't know how they have the dungeon set up.
Yeah,
I know, just out of comparison, Marvel Heroes, you play Black Panther, you can stealth all the way through anything and go right to the last boss. I wonder if that's possible with that ability. Probably not. I would guess probably not, but thinking about it is fun.
All right, the next ability goes hand in hand with Shadow Cloak, actually. Veiled Strike. Deals increased damage and stuns enemies. Requires stealth. So basically this is a stun backstab kind of. I don't think you have to be behind them though, but basically you have to be invisible or stealthed. So let's say you hit that Shadow Cloak, now you can use Veiled Strike, whereas before you can't use Veiled Strike if you're just in combat running around. So you need to lead off with this or use this after activating Shadow Cloak.
I feel like a cool combo with this ability would be like Teleport Strike, and then when you have that stun, maybe get one auto attack in or something like that with that short stun, Shadow Cloak, and then Veiled Strike again and stun them again. You're gonna have some good stun lock with a Nightblade.
It's gonna be nutty. It's gonna be awesome. Yeah, Veiled Strike, guys. It's your standard, gotta be stealth, do a shitload of damage kind of ability.
And
it's
I feel like
ambush.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like this ability would probably morph into something like, apply a small dot or something.
Right.
Because it already does damage, increased damage, and stuns. It could either maybe increase the stun for a while or maybe add a dot or something to them afterwards. I feel like that would be the probably most likely things it would morph into.
Yeah. All right, the next active is a really cool one. Summon Shade.
Yeah.
Summons a shade which attacks and debuffs your enemies, causing them to deal less damage. So again, this is kind of where I see a potential, maybe kind of a Nightblade tanky kind of role. You could have this as one of your abilities if you wanted to be a tank. It's a debuff, causes less damage to enemies that it attacks. It's a little more DPS. It's something else for mobs or players to attack besides you.
Right. Anytime you can stop that damage coming to you is always good.
I love this ability. It's kind of a surprise. I didn't expect to see something like that. And then all of a sudden, bam, you get to summon something. You have a kind of a pet as a Nightblade. And I think it's fantastic. I hope it looks cool. Let's hope it looks cool.
It's the third active in the Shadow Tree, so you'll probably be getting it midway through your leveling process. Maybe a little bit earlier, but...
Yeah. It's going to be great for solo folks. I can see a lot of people in PvE that's solo using this, and I can see it in group play. And any of those folks that are brave enough to try a Nightblade tank, I can see them using Summon Shade.
Now, as much as someone keeps talking about a Nightblade tank, I don't think it's going to be viable. I'm going to throw it out right now, and I'll explain why once we go through everything. But I'll let someone keep this dream of a Nightblade tank alive a little bit longer before I slaughter it.
See, I just like to believe that any class could be a tank. That's what I like to believe, even if it's wrong. Like, we all know Santa doesn't exist. Spoiler! But it's still fun to pretend that he does.
We'll see.
Whatever. Anyway.
Whatever, Deagen.
Next active, which is really cool. Path of Darkness. Deals damage in a path in front of you. Increases your movement speed along that path.
This ability seems
awesome.
Crazy fun to use.
That is going to be so freaking fun in PvP. Oh my lord. I can't wait to see multiple Nightblades carving paths through the battlefield and just like lining up and
Yeah.
like 4 Nightblades line up, just 4 paths together and just speed through the battlefield. It's gonna be so freaking cool, man. It's gonna be awesome.
I feel like this ability is gonna look sexy too.
Awesome, yeah. I can see like a
Path of
black shadow
Darkness.
path. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be awesome.
Really cool.
It's just a unique skill overall. It's just kind of unique. I really like it a lot.
Yeah, it's a fun synergy. You know, you put this Path of Darkness down, and then anything in it takes damage, and you also get increased movement speed along that path. It's a fun ability. I like it. I like that you have to be in the path too in order to get the movement speed bonus. It's not just like you get the movement speed bonus by casting it. I like that you have to still stay in there. So it's a good way to escape or a good way to chase, which is, It's fun stuff. If you didn't want to use Teleport Strike for some reason, if you're like, think of it, a Nightblade build where you might not use Teleport Strike, Path of Darkness could be a pretty good replacement as long as you get a decent amount of movement speed with it, which, being the second to last active, I feel like you're probably going to get a pretty good movement speed bonus. I'm thinking like 20%, 25% movement speed bonus. That's pretty good. You'll catch anybody with that. You'll
and I can see this morphing to the point where, allies can also run on your Path of Darkness or something like that. Or I can see it helping group play somehow.
For sure.
I hope. All right, the next active is Aspect of Terror. Nearby enemies are afflicted with fear. So I'm assuming this is just a standard CC.
It sounds like an oh shit button to me is what it sounds like.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, you're about to die. You freaking fear everybody. Like, just run away.
Well, I mean, besides that, though, I think there's something more to Aspect of Terror than just that. I don't think it's going to be an AoE fear that makes all the enemies scatter so you can run away. I think it's...
Really? Because that's what I think it's gonna be.
Maybe
I could
it
be
is.
wrong, but I don't know.
No, maybe I'm just a dummy.
Well, what are you thinking?
Maybe that's all it is.
What are you thinking it's gonna be?
For some reason, I have this thought that maybe it's another CC where, like the Encase or the Rune Prison for Sorcerer. Where
yeah.
I think it's gonna be something maybe like that. I could be completely off. This is just me going off my rocker. But what if it's like any enemies nearby, you can use Aspect of Terror, and then they're kind of like stuck, scared for a certain amount of time as like a CC while you take down other enemies, kind of like Rune Prison. Or you could be right. It could just be kind of like a Warlock fear for 3 seconds.
Either way you look at it, it's basically... It doesn't say it does any damage, so I don't think it's gonna... I mean, it might with a morph or something, I don't know, but... To me, it just seems like I'm surrounded. I pulled more than I meant to pull, and this is what I'm going to use to help me.
You're probably right. I'm probably just looking too deeply into it. But, I mean, as long as it keeps people from hitting you and you dying, that's all that matters, really. But I'm probably way wrong. But
we don't know how long the fear is going to be either. Because it's an AoE fear, and it's not an ultimate, I feel like it can't be that long of a fear? I don't know. I'm thinking like 3 to 5 seconds tops.
Yeah, you're right. It's gotta be. Nearby enemies reflect with fear. It's probably just a no shit button. You're right. Probably more so for PvE than PvP.
Yeah, I could see this being a definite like solo thing. If you want to run stuff solo, maybe run Aspect of Terror in case you get in over your head or something.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go with the first passive in the Shadow Tree. Refreshing Shadow. Activating a Shadow ability increases stamina regeneration.
That is so good. It doesn't say gives you stamina. Okay, you don't get like a stamina on use of an ability. You get stamina regeneration, so it affects your passive regen, which is great. I love it. I love that it's not like a flat stamina thing. I think that's awesome. And I hope... we don't know, but I hope that this actually stacks on top of itself, where you get 5% stamina regeneration bonus, when you use an ability. What if you use an ability and then another one and another one? Maybe it could stack up to 20% or something like that at its highest point. I don't know.
That's a good question.
I feel like that could be really cool though.
It might just be a flat percentage to regen though, like. For the next 5 seconds after using a shadow ability, it regens 10% faster, and then
And maybe as you level it up, maybe it'll the percent will just increase a little bit or something.
something
Yeah,
like that.
I could.
I
Totally
doubt
be
it'll
honest.
stack. I doubt it'll stack though, but that's good. I mean, your bow users, your people that are going to be using weapon skill lines more so than magica abilities. That's a pretty important passive. Stamina is going to be really important for Nightblades
Yeah.
because it costs stamina to go stealth. While you're stealthing, your stamina bar is draining. So anytime, I mean, if you activate Shadow Cloak, you're invisible, which means your stamina is being drained. But because your stamina regeneration is now increased, you'll be able to stay stealthy a little bit longer. So, very important passive.
Yeah, and again, this is one of those passives too that is geared towards the shadow abilities. So even if the passive did stack, I mean, you only get the stack bonus if there is one with using a shadow ability. So
Right.
and I can't imagine somebody using a ton of the shadow abilities on their bar. Some of these are going to be great, but using probably more than 2 or 3 on your bar is probably not going to happen.
Okay. The next passive is Shadow Barrier. Take less damage after coming out of stealth or invisibility.
PvP.
PvP. Yeah, PvP pretty much. Pretty self-explanatory. After you do finally come out of that stealth or invisibility, let's say you shadow cloaked to get your veiled strike in. You're out of magicka. You got that veiled strike. The stun runs out. You have that shadow barrier. You're going to take a little bit less damage from that hit.
Well, think about it. I mean, if the shadow barrier lasts, probably, I would guess like 5 seconds. That's probably a good guess of how long you're going to take less damage after coming out of stealth. If you're properly using your shadow cloak just to get that invisibility and poke and do damage, you're going to be a little bit tanky just because you're going to be keeping that shadow barrier up.
Yeah.
So I don't know. For a lot of people, just expect the Nightblade to be super squishy. I feel like that's a misconception about ESO right now. That people think, oh my gosh, you're going to be squishy because you're playing a Nightblade. And it's kind of the same thing with Sorcerers too. But looking at the Sorcerer skill line, they had a ton of defensive abilities.
Yep.
And I don't know, I feel like the Nightblade is going to be a little bit tankier than people are giving it credit for. And that plays into it a little bit, for sure.
Definitely. Finally, we have Dark Veil. Increase. Oh wait, no, excuse me. Fortitude is the next passive. I'm sorry. Fortitude is the next passive. Increase max health per slotted shadow ability slotted. Okay, so for every shadow ability you have on your bar, your health is increased. Let's say a small percent or something like that.
Not my favorite passive for like a, because I feel like if you're putting a bunch of shadow skills on your bar, you're probably trying to go with more of like a bursty spec, and health isn't something you're necessarily too worried about. Now, health is always good when you can get it in PvP, but if it was this passive over maybe something else, I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of a weak passive. It's okay. I mean, more health is always good. I mean, but it doesn't really speak to me. It's not that great to me. I mean, maybe for a tank, it'd be good. if you had, I don't know, Summon Shade and Path of Darkness or something like that on your bar, that'd be kind of cool for tanking, but maybe not actually. I don't know. We'll see. We'll talk
about it once we finish all the trees. I think we'll go into the whole is tanking as a Nightblade viable a little bit more later.
Yeah. Okay, so Dark Veil is the last passive. Increased duration of shadow abilities. Pretty self-explanatory passive. You'll get that that longer shadow cloak. Your Summon Shade will be out longer. Your Path of Darkness will last longer.
Maybe the stun on your Veiled Strike will last a little bit longer.
Yep.
Pretty awesome. Yeah, anytime you can make anything last longer without having to recast it, not only is it a direct boost to your damage because you're not having to recast something, but it's a better way to manage your resources. So, just a Good passive. Good passive.
Okay.
All right, that's it for the shadow tree, guys. Let's go to the last one, which is the siphoning tree. Again, this is what I think both me and Soma will agree. This tree is
Awesome.
strong. It's going to be awesome. All right, the ultimate for siphoning is called Soul Shred. Deals PB AoE damage and stuns nearby enemies. Initiates the Leeching Strike synergy. Now, Leeching Strike is probably something along the lines of gaining health back on attack.
Yeah.
So basically, you're giving everybody around you life leech,
Pretty much.
which is awesome, and it stuns enemies. So
Yeah. So, if anyone's wondering what PBAOE means, that's a point blank area of effect.
player-based area of effect.
Yeah. So, it's basically anyone that's right on top of you, you're gonna hit. It's basically for an AOE around you as the character. Pretty much a short range AOE. But if you have a bunch of people on top of you, and you hit Soul Shred, you're gonna damage them, stun everyone around you, and then you can still have all your friends leech health off of them with Leeching Strike, or leech whatever, Magicka or Stamina or whatever. That is.
I feel like the Leeching Strike synergy is going to be quite significant too. I feel like that could be pretty strong in a a massive scale assault in PvP.
You have to remember though, using these synergy abilities, if you activate the synergy as a player, it takes resources. You have to use your resources to do this.
Yeah.
So people have to be careful when they're activating these synergies. If you activate a synergy at the wrong time and you spend your mana or stamina pool or whatever it is it costs to activate the synergy, which I'm assuming will be expensive because it's a synergy ability.
And especially because it's a synergy off of ultimate too.
Yeah, you might be messing up your rotation. You have to be communicating with your team to know when to use these synergies. It's going to be crazy. But that's Soul Shred's good. That's really good.
It is good. The first one, the first active is called Strife. Place a dot on your target, which also heals you for the duration. Just a solid ability, and it's the first one you get to in siphoning.
Yeah, it's good.
Think about just for leveling. I mean, this is going to be the first thing I will get when I'm leveling.
And it's awesome.
This is what I'm getting. Like, a dot that heals me.
Though, anyone that's played it at PAX or got a chance to play it in beta, well, we can't really talk about beta, but anyone that's played on the show floor at PAX or Gamescom or whatever, and that tried the Nightblade in the demo, this is probably one of the first spells you got. It looks cool. It works as intended. It's just an all-around good dot. I mean, let's say you're fighting several people at once. You just strafe all three of the enemies. You got a good health pool coming in. You just take them down one by one. Or single target. I mean, that's just one-on-one. This is great. So, yeah, strafe's awesome.
Good stuff. The next active, Agony, stuns and dots an enemy for a long duration, but the effect is broken by any other damage. What a cool ability.
Yeah, so this is the thing I was kind of talking about earlier, the rune prison thing. Okay, this is the ability I was looking for, Agony. Stuns and dots an enemy for long duration, the effect is broken by any other damage. So this is awesome because you're damaging them as they're stuck. It's a long duration stun, a sap, but imagine if sap did damage. Oh, that's not fair.
Yeah, especially for PvE and like soloing, like just going out and questing and leveling, doing what you gotta do. Heck yeah. Like every time you pull a group of mobs, like you just freaking Agony the one with the most health, take out the other two guys, and then, oh my gosh, so good.
That's a really good one now.
Yeah, it's gonna be a really, really awesome ability. I don't know how that's gonna morph, because it already is a stun and a dot, but I don't know.
I wonder how long the duration is. Maybe 20, 30 seconds.
I would feel like I think medium duration is like 10 to 15 seconds. Short is anywhere from like 3 to 5 seconds.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe 20 seconds. I don't know. But it says long time, and That's going to be really, really, really good.
Yeah.
All right, the next active, Cripple. Place a dot on an enemy which gradually decreases its movement speed, transferring an equal speed boost to the Nightblade.
Awesome.
Again,
That
this is
is
another one of
so
those
good.
abilities. This is another one of those abilities where you're like, all right, in PvP, you're either gonna run like at least one of Path of Darkness, Cripple, or Teleport Strike. You're gonna have one of those on there to help you close the gap, if not more than one. But
Right.
Cripple, whew, that's gonna be fun. You slow them. Think about it. In PvP, if you slow someone by 20% and then you gain 20%, that's a 40%. I mean, it might not be a 40% movement speed boost for you, but it's a 40% in total. That is crazy. You're not going to get away from a 40% movement speed.
Yeah, and then you use something like Path of Darkness on top of that. Like, let's say you hit someone with Cripple, and then you Path of Darkness to them, so you get there even faster.
Oh, or think about it as far as running away. Cripple the guy, Path of Darkness away. You're going to be running so fast. Feel speed demon across the battlefield.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to do. That's my new troll build for Nightblade. A Path of Darkness and Cripple. I'm just going to run around siphoning speed from everybody and be running like... They'd be like, that guy's speed hacking!
I think Strife and Cripple together is just... That's 2 dots, you're being healed, and you're faster and they're slowed down. That's just 2 abilities together.
Yeah.
Ugh! God damn!
Cripple's going to be awesome. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, that's nasty.
The next one. Siphoning Strikes. Sacrifice a portion of your own weapon damage in order, it says in to restore, but I'm going to say in order to restore a portion of your magicka in every hit. So you do a little bit less damage. It's going to be a toggleable thing, I'm guessing, where you sacrifice your damage, but you get your magicka and stamina back with every hit. This could be something that's really good for somebody that wants to do a lot of casting instead of just auto-attacking, or someone who you just get your resources low and you're like, well, I'm going to turn Siphoning Strikes on real quick, regen my resources, and go back to town.
Yeah, and this is also good, like, I can imagine in PvP or something like that, having Siphoning Strikes on, let's say, your second bar, and once you're running low, hitting up Siphoning Strikes, regaining your stamina magicka, and then turning it right off. I don't see people using it non-stop, just because it does get rid of your weapon damage a little bit. It does sacrifice.
You don't want to sacrifice that all the time.
Yeah, you're gonna want to use this ability just for what it's for, and that's to get your resources back up. Yeah, and maybe for like long fights and stuff like that, you're gonna want.
Yeah, anytime you can keep it's all about managing your resources a lot in long fights. Like, I think about going back to, playing World of Warcraft and some of those boss fights that used to take forever, and when you got to the point where you're running out of resources and you're trying to get back into your rotation because you don't have any resources, it's an extreme pain in the butt. And anytime you can get your resources back with an ability, it's great. And Siphoning Strikes for PvE is going to be sexy. Now, for PvP, maybe not as much, but it might work with a couple different builds, but I feel like it's more of a PvE ability.
Yeah, I agree, and you use this with haste. It's going to be great because haste, obviously gives you an attack speed bonus. Haste with Siphoning Strikes, you should be able to get your resources back up to full relatively quickly. It would appear. So Siphoning Strikes is good, and who knows what it could morph into? Maybe even lifesteal. Who knows? You could add a lifesteal to it. That'd be awesome.
All right, the next active is so crazy good. It's called Drain Power. Debuff the attack power of nearby enemies, transferring a portion of that power to the Nightblade for each affected enemy. Think about this ability when you got 70 people around you in a PvP battle.
I know.
What the F? You get this, you turn haste on, you're going to be like...
You're going to be crazy.
You're going to be destroying people.
You're gonna be
You're
crazy.
destroying people.
I can see this being a must for PvP Nightblades. I can see it. I can see them having to have this on there.
I feel like if I was PvPing as a Nightblade, I would have like one of my bars set up for like one-on-one scenarios, and probably the other one for maybe geared toward a little bit more of the AoE scenarios or keeping myself alive or something like that.
Well, here's the thing about Nightblade. There is no AoE abilities. Have you seen one AoE ability?
Well, let's see. The Path of Darkness
Well,
is
besides
an AoE
that,
ability.
and besides the Soul Shred ultimate, the ultimates don't count. Let's not count those. Just regular abilities.
They're mostly single target. There's a lot of dots and stuff like that.
It's almost all single targets. So any Nightblade that wants AoE is going to have to find that AoE within weapon skill lines and other ways, because they're not going to find it in the Nightblade skill lines.
Yeah, there's definitely not a lot.
Right.
They're not an AoE class, that's for sure. Grey Grim,
Nope.
they are not an AoE class.
Not at all.
But you know, the trade-off though, generally through MMO history, is you either have a class that does pretty good AoE damage and moderate single target damage, or you have a class that does great single target damage and very moderate AoE damage. And with Nightblade, it pretty much seems like AoE is nil. So I would
Whereas
expect.
Templar is all AoE pretty
Yeah,
much.
Templar is going to be an AoE powerhouse, it feels like. But Nightblade is going to be doing some crazy single target damage.
Yep.
Crazy. I mean, just think about it. Look, I mean, you put Strife on them, you put Cripple on them, you go to town just attacking it. Oh my gosh, you're going to be hitting so fast with haste. They are going to be a class that, unless you're either really tanky or you have a lot of ways to distance yourself from them, they're not going to be something you want to really fight in a one-on-one scenario in a PvP. It's going to be crazy. Let's see. That was Drain Power. Let's go into the passives. First passive is Catalyst, increase potion effectiveness.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's the first time we've seen a passive that increases a potion's effectiveness, and I think that'll be neat.
Squeeze out more healing or magic or stamina from your pot.
Well, not only that, but think about if there's like combat boosting potions that you can get from the Provisionist or whatever, or Provisioner. That could be crazy good, you know? If it increases potion effectiveness by 10, 15, 20%, you don't know.
Yep.
That could be a huge damage boost.
Yeah, you take like an alchemist makes you a potion that increases your power or your dodge or whatever. Bam, this helps everything. So
Yeah.
that's a really good passive actually, now that I'm thinking about it more.
Yeah, it's a strong passive.
Yeah.
The next one is Magicka Flood. Increase Magicka when you have a siphoning ability slotted. Again, this just kind of plays into the more of the less of a auto-attacking build and more of a I'm going to keep you dotted up type build. Which is pretty neat. It kind of gives you... this passive kind of leans into the whole that you don't have to just be on auto-attack. Or you have a little bit of leeway with your Magicka if you want to be a little bit more of a caster Nightblade, which is kind of neat.
Mm-hmm.
The next passive, Soul Siphoner. Increase healing taken by siphoning abilities. That's an obvious no-brainer. Yes, you are going to want this passive. Anytime you increase your healing is going to make you harder to kill. Just an overall good passive, really.
I like the next one.
The next one is going to be... This is the best passive from the Nightblade in any of the trees. It's called Transfer. Gain ultimate when dealing damage with a siphoning ability. And this is the best thing about it. I guarantee you every Nightblade will be running at least one of the siphoning abilities. So this passive is going to be on every single Nightblade, which means a Nightblade's ultimate is going to be up probably faster than yours.
Yeah, because every time you deal damage with a siphoning ability, you gain ultimate. So every time that dot in Strife ticks, you're gaining ultimate. Every time that cripple ticks, you're gaining ultimate. Now let's say you have Strife and frickin' cripple, and they're both ticking. You're going to be gaining ultimate so friggin' fast.
Now, again, let's point out that a lot of the ultimates for the Nightblade, they don't really seem like they're as crazy as some of the other classes ultimates. I don't feel like their damage is going to be crazy with any of these. I feel like the obviously the best one for them, I feel, is going to be Deathstroke. This ability is going to hit really hard, but it is a single target thing. It's not an AoE. Most of the other ultimates we've seen are AoE based, and this one is single target, and that makes me kind of happy. I like that. I like that it's single target.
I like it too. Yeah, I like it too.
I feel like that's going to be hitting extremely hard, and then again, Consume Darkness. This isn't even a damaging ability. This is like a purely, it's an AoE snare, so you are snaring, but this is like a support thing. Like, this is a really cool ultimate, but it's not something that it's going to do crazy damage or anything like that. And then you've got the Siphoning one, Soul Shred. This one's going to do some player-based damage and stun. But again, I can't imagine this doing a lot of damage. The Life Leech is really why you're going to be using this ultimate. So, I don't know. I feel like it's just going to be really... It's a good passive, and I feel like for PvP, if you're running a Siphoning build and then you're using Deathstroke, oh my gosh, you're going to be hitting people all the time with that.
Yeah.
Basically, if you're fighting a Nightblade in a one-on-one scenario and he's got dots on you, I mean, be prepared for Deathstroke. Like that's coming. That's coming with full force.
Yeah, Deathstroke with transfer is awesome. Based on the fact that it's based on how much you have in your ultimate pool. If you're gaining enough and fast enough with the transfer passive, with siphoning stuff, it is going to be a force to be reckoned with.
It's one of those things. It's one of those things too, because Deathstroke, like Soma just said, it's based on how much ultimate you have as a resource. So, if you're in a one-on-one and you're playing your Nightblade, right, and you got your dots up, your ultimate resource is gaining, and you don't have to use Deathstroke to get the kill, so you just let it keep gaining. And then you get in that scenario where, you know what, maybe you're not going to win this fight. Boom, Deathstroke. I would assume Deathstroke is going to do like half a player's health bar at least. I feel like
half?
Oh, I think so.
Maybe.
A single target?
I think if it's completely full ultimate.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, I can do half. If it's not like a heavy armor tanky kind of guy, like a light armor or medium armor DPS kind of person, I think it could shatter them for sure. Absolutely.
I mean, I look at the Dragon Knight's ultimates. All those were like AoE. I feel like the Dragon Knight's ultimates are honestly probably the strongest we talked about so far. I feel like they're crazy strong.
Yeah, I love the Dragon Knight ultimates. That's kind of, I don't know, I love the Magma armor.
I think the Templar has the best overall skills, but the ultimate abilities for me, I feel like the Dragon Knight has the best ones. As far as utility goes, as far as damage goes, I feel like his ultimates are going to hit like a truck. And they're all pretty much AoE.
Yeah.
If you're getting an ultimate that's based on how much you have as a resource, and it's single target, I feel like this ability should dang near one-shot some people.
I don't know about that.
Depending on how long it takes to build up that resource. I don't know, Soma. I mean, think about it. If you have a Dragon Knight,
people can one-shot a light armor wearing player, I would be pissed.
All right, think about it though. If you have a Dragon Knight that can jump into a group of enemies and do, say, an average. This is just in theory. This is just for argument's sake. Say everybody has 1,000 health. A Dragon Knight uses his, I don't remember what it's called, was it Dragon Leap or something like that? Where he jumps in and does the damage and knocks back or whatever. Say it hits everybody for like 250 damage or something, or 200 damage. But he hits everybody? Like, would you rather have an ultimate that hits everybody for 200 damage, or would you rather have an ultimate that can hit one person for 1,000?
What would I rather have?
Yeah.
One that could hit one person for 1,000.
Really? You would?
I would rather take out the healer with the 1,000-point damage and then cut everyone else down. I would rather get rid of one foe than weaken several.
I don't know.
That's
I'm
what
just
I would
saying,
do.
I feel like this ability is going to hit really, really hard. I hope it hits really hard.
It is gonna hit hard. Oh, there's no denying the fact that it's an ultimate single strike ability. It's going to rape face. Let's be honest. But if it one shots squishies, I'm gonna be
With a Nightblade with sick gear and full build, I will be
80%
so
of the
happy. I'll be so happy if I walk up and like one shot like a caster in light armor, like wearing a robe or something. I just walk up and boom, done, son. I would be so
I don't
happy.
think it's gonna be that potent. It's gonna be strong, but I don't think
Wait,
it's gonna be that strong.
do you think if I mark target first and then Deathstroke, I can kill him?
Maybe actually. Maybe with a marked target, that sounds a little better to me. If you mark target first, if you mark target, teleport strike, and then death stroked them.
No,
Death strike them.
that's the combo right there. You mark
That's the
target,
combo.
teleport strike, and then
Death
you do the shadow cloak, veiled strike, stun again, Deathstroke, Dunzo.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Dunzo. If anybody could survive that combo, ooh wee.
So if you were gonna make a Nightblade, which you are going to,
Yes.
I keep yawning. I don't know why I'm yawning so much. Sorry, guys. What would you do? What kind of armor? What weapon? What tree? What skills? What would you do?
I feel like I would be probably playing a light or medium armor Nightblade. I would want high mobility and high burst damage. I feel like my build would be focused around probably Cripple and Strife. I would probably take these two from the Siphoning tree just because they're both dots and with Transfer and Magical Flood, I think that's going to be crazy, crazy good. And Soul Siphoner is going to be good with this too. So I'd probably take Strife and Cripple from those. I would definitely have Teleport Strike and Mark Target as well. I feel like that's just going to be really, really, really strong. Mark Target's going to be awesome. Teleport Strike is going to be another way to chase and do damage, get that stun. And then as far as my last active, though, that's pretty difficult to think about because I feel like Haste could be really good. If you're fighting a Nightblade on a one-on-one and you see him pop Haste, that's probably a time for you to like try to kite him and keep him away until that buff wears off. So that might be good. I also think Path of Darkness could be really fun too. I could get down with this. Also, Veiled Strike, Shadow Cloak, those are both really good too. Like the whole combo that I was thinking is, you know what? Let's do that. I'm switching it. I'm switching it. I'm switching it up. We're gonna go Cripple. Okay, Cripple. I'm gonna do Shadow Cloak and Veiled Strike, and then I'm going to do Mark Target and Teleport Strike.
Well, look at you go.
I'm even
That's
skipping.
good.
I'm skipping Assassin's Blade too, which does a huge multiplier with targets against low health. I'm gonna skip out on that because I feel like I'm not going to need it.
For me, my ultimate would be Deathstroke for sure. I'd be using medium armor for stamina regen, bows, and two-handed weapons. So my two-hander would be if they get close, obviously. Bows is what I'd normally be using, but I would definitely use Deathstroke. And I would also have Mark Target on there because you're gonna want that Mark Target for whoever you're shooting.
Yeah, it's gonna be so good.
Yeah. So Mark Target for sure. Because I want to be a stealthy guy, and because I'd be from far away, I would definitely want Shadow Cloak, so I could get as many sneak attacks out as I could.
Yep.
I'd be using that quite a bit, actually, for more sneak attacks. And then from there, I would probably actually use Veiled Strike for when they got close for my two-hander. And then besides the other two, though, would be Cripple, obviously because I don't want them to get close to me with my bow.
Right.
And then it'd probably either be Strife or It would probably be Strife, actually. Strife and Cripple, dot them up with Shadow Cloak, and then be able to use Veiled Strike, um, if need be, if they got close, and then Mark Target and Deathstroke.
Yeah. I'd say that's pretty solid. Playing a Nightblade with a bow seems like a pretty fun thing to do. You have Cripple with a slow, which gradually decreases their movement speed and increases yours. So basically, they'll never get close to you. Then you also have Mark Target, and the Shadow Cloak is going to pretty much allow you to just get tons of sneak attacks in.
Yeah, and we don't know. Some of these abilities, too, that they might morph. Some of these abilities might be like short-range melee abilities, but they might morph into long-range stuff. Some of these morphs might be, okay, now it's no longer a 5-meter range, it's 35 meters or something like that. So that'll make certain skills that don't seem viable for bows suddenly viable.
Yeah.
And vice versa, maybe, too. So that's, if I was going to be at Nightblade, though, I would probably use bows and be stealthy. But I want to be a stealthy archer sorcerer, though. That's what I want to do. I want to be an arcane archer. That's what I want to make as my my alternate character.
I would definitely be burst damage Nightblade. Like I would want that's why I played the concealment operative in Star Wars, was because I could kill people in one burst rotation, and I love that.
It's a good feeling. Yeah.
But the problem with being a burst rotation, character is you come out of your stealth and you waste all your resources on your burst, and then if anybody else is around you and you don't have any resources to continue your burst, you're probably going to die. So hopefully with the Nightblade, you'll have a little bit sustained with your siphoning abilities and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, this is the single target class right here, guys. You are going to be the single target king.
Can it be a tank? Tell me why you don't think it can be a tank.
All right, this is why I don't think you can tank on the Nightblade. While there are some good actives for the Nightblades that might contribute towards tanking, the passives just don't. There's not many passives in here that attribute towards damage mitigation, anything like that. As spell resistance, nothing like that shows up in the passives for Nightblade.
Yeah, I think if you want to be a viable tank as a Nightblade, you're going to need to use armor and weapon skill lines more so than other classes. Like, let's say a Templar or a Dragon Knight can use more class abilities to be an effective tank, less so maybe with weapon skill lines, and they can use more of their class abilities and be effective. This, I think, yes, you can use some Nightblade abilities to be very effective at tanking, but you're going to need a solid weapon skill line, like a sword and board skill line, and you're going to be using a lot of stamina with that build.
I agree. I know there's people in chat saying that you can grab heavy armor passives and stuff. I know, guys. I'm just saying, as far as straight up Nightblades right now, I feel like, yeah, you probably could tank. Okay, you probably could, but I don't feel like it's going to be something you're going to see a lot of. You might see a few of them, but as far as the passives from the Templar and the Dragon Knight, even the Sorcerer had some passives that gave some defense and stuff. So I don't know. It's probably possible, but is it going to be something you're going to see a lot of people doing? I don't really feel like it will be.
This is what I think we're going to be seeing a lot of. A lot of medium armor and heavy armor, Nightblades, stealthing, and using dual wield and bows. That's exactly what I think we're going to see a lot of. And I think we're going to see Destruction Staff, Restoration Staff, Light Armor Nightblades too. Like stealthy healers and stealthy spellcasters. I can definitely see that happening a lot. I think a Nightblade Destruction Staff user with stealth, holy shit, a stealth caster is going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. If you have a Destro Staff, Restoration Staff, light armor wearing Nightblade. That actually
Screw the
sounds
resto
amazing.
staff.
That sounds fun.
Screw the resto staff. Give me a destro staff and give me like dual wield. Oh my gosh.
That sounds sick. I don't know. I think the resto
Or
staff
maybe like a bow.
for a Nightblade is going to be really good.
Yeah.
The restoration, don't forget, restoration staff does DPS. You can do damage with it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't just have, like you heal someone this amount of health. There's going to be other abilities on it that people don't really think about. But we'll get into that later if you haven't seen that yet, like on the demo floors at PAX or whatever. You'll see what the restoration staff can do. And I think it's going to be, people are going to be using it a lot.
You're going to see a ton of people with resto staff. So.
You're going to see people defaulting to restoration staff as they level. They're going to level with restoration staff because it's strong. You'll see. You guys will see.
Yeah.
That's the Nightblade though, guys. I think it's a great class. I think honestly it's the class I'm least interested in though, which is weird because I originally wanted to be a Nightblade more than anything. Now I want to be a Dragon Knight and then roll a Sorcerer alt.
But you also want to play Templar.
And I want to have a Templar alt. Yeah. I want to play them all. I want to play Nightblade too. I would love to try the Mage Nightblade, the light armor Destro Resto staff. That'll probably be an alt that I do too.
Yeah, and I feel like that's just great. That's so perfect for this game that me and Soma both had an idea of what we wanted to play going into it, and we kind of had an idea of what the abilities were going into it. But actually going through and reading it and hearing what someone else's take on a skill might be, how it might morph, stuff like that, how they might build a character compared to how you might build a character, it really gets you thinking about different possibilities and different ways you might be able to do something. So I'm in the same boat. I want to play the Nightblade, but as far as pure fun goes, I feel like the Sorcerer has the most fun class skills.
Just for the control, yeah.
I feel like the Sorcerer is going to be incredibly fun to play. I feel like the Dragon Knight is going to be incredibly strong.
Yeah.
Incredibly strong. I feel like the Templar is going to be just kind of like a jack of all trades. They're going to be tanky. They're going to do damage. They're going to have good AoE. They might not be amazing at any of those. I think they're amazing at AoE, but they're going to be strong too, man. They're going to be really, really good.
It's going to be nuts, man. I don't know. The longevity that I see in this game, the amount of replayability, just to try new builds and because not everyone's going to want to level to 50++ to unlock every skill point so they can try that other build. People are going to roll alts because they're going to want to see the other parts of Tamriel and not have to wait to get through the other stuff. People are going to be rolling alts and people are going to be experimenting and they're going to find that they like this build with this class more than that, and it's just going to, I think there's going to be a lot of altaholics made.
I feel like early on in this game you're going to see a lot of people with 4 level 20s
yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah.
Then people actually taking one of the starting archetypes and going all the way to the max level. So I know that's what me and Soma are going to do. We're pretty much going to pick our first class and we're beasting it out right away and trying to get to max level, get some of the PvP and endgame stuff going for you guys on stream. But
Dragon Knight tank with 2-hand, that's what I'm going. How about you?
I definitely see us going back and doing more stuff. I feel like because you're tanking that I either have to go some sort of support healing or I go DPS, and I generally in MMOs have been a DPS. So I feel like a Nightblade right now is the primary single target DPS class in this game as far as boss fights and stuff like that. So I feel like
it could be an AoE DPS Templar.
I could be, I could be. I could be. We'll have to see, Soma. I feel like whatever I want to do is I want a DPS, but what class I choose yet, I'm leaning towards Nightblade still, but Templar and even Sorcerer are possibilities, I guess. They're possibilities.
Knowing that I'm going to be the tank, I know that I shouldn't even worry about DPS. So I'm just going to worry about survivability and DPS and PvP and just survivability and tanking and PvE.
So much survivability in the Dragon Knights.
I know. I'm gonna be fine in PvE and PvP. I might not do the most damage, but they're not gonna be able to kill me. So it's gonna be fine.
You're just gonna whittle them down. There's so much survivability in the Dragon Knight skill line. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
All like the ally
Even
buffs.
Nightblade though, even Nightblade can just go invisible whenever he wants, and siphoning is awesome. There's survivability for Nightblade too, not as much as DK, but I don't know.
I'm still saying though, as far as like the overall fun factor for this game goes, Sorcerer has that right now. I look at their abilities and their skill lines, and I just my trolly nature, I guess, in my creativity takes over, and I start thinking of creative ways to play that class, and there are some fun, crazy abilities in the Sorcerer skill line.
And here's the best part. We've just gone over the Nightblade skills, guys, and the Templar, Dragon Knight, and Sorcerer skills in the last couple weeks. Those are only a few skill lines. There is so much more. This is just the start of the skill lines. We're talking about, like, okay, we're going to make this build with that. You guys don't even understand. There is so many more skills in the game that you might not even see people ever using Nightblade skill lines on a Nightblade. You might not see people ever use class skills because there's so many other skills to use in other trees.
All the weapon, and we'll be going over all of these skills, guys, as soon as they're made available.
All the weapons, everything.
As soon as they're made available, we will be going over everything. Now, we at the end of each class skill line overview or review, or if you want to call it, we kind of go through and we choose what abilities that we would take. Now, that is if you were only choosing from the Nightblade skill line.
Right.
Now, obviously, a build like that we probably wouldn't run if we had access to all of the abilities and all of the skill lines. But it is fun just to see what people will do and what abilities you might take, how Soma might play the class compared to how I might play it. So, oh gosh, I
can't wait. I know, I'm so stoked.
I can't wait either. Why can't it just come out now? So
like I can't wait for the game, and doing this vodcast like just makes me want to play it even more. Like, it's crazy.
All right, if there are any viewer questions, now would be the time that you guys ask those. Again, at the end of the viewer questions, after we wrap things up, I will be choosing a random winner from the stream, as long as you're following, and you will be able to win $25 worth of food from me. We'll explain how that works when we actually do the giveaway, but for now, let's do some viewer questions. In your opinion, when playing in Nightblade, what other class is the biggest threat in battle? That would be Dragon Knight. By far.
I'd say probably Dragon Knight, yeah.
A Dragon Knight, or maybe another Nightblade that gets an opener on you. I feel like a Nightblade versus a Nightblade is going to be who gets the initial stun lock off. But a Dragon Knight is going to be a pain in the butt because not only are they tanky, but they have a good stun rotation and quite high damage. So they're going to be strong.
Yeah, I'd say Dragon Knight's going to give it the worst time.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. Any info on how long it will take to reach max level, Deagen?
I would guess a week. I think they said. Wait, no. I think they said what?
120 hours. About.
Was it 120 hours?
If you're only doing the main quest line and you skip all the other side stuff, and you just hump it out, and you want to just do the main quest and try to level up and beat the game.
Yeah, I think they said 120 or something like that.
About 120 hours, which is about, what, a few days? A week?
Yeah, I would say a week to, like, 2 weeks.
Or is it 180? Is it 180 or is it 120?
I don't remember exactly, but I'm going to say it's probably, for someone who's playing the game 8 to 10 hours a day, which me and Soma, as full-time streamers, will be playing this game probably closer to 12 hours a day, if not more.
Right.
We will probably be max level in a week and a half, roughly. Maybe a little bit longer than that. It depends. Possibly 2 weeks. I don't know. Not really sure, but we're gonna be playing the game a ton, so I would say probably
I'm
2 weeks
assuming
at
we're
the
gonna level
tops.
up faster, more so than other people.
Yeah. Four Samurai asks, do you think siphoning strikes will take advantage of weapon speed? Daggers are more frequent, but two-handers give you more resource per swing. That's a really good question, Force Hammer. I would guess that siphoning strikes will probably take advantage of weapon speed. I feel like it's probably geared towards a dagger setup anyways, so you're going to get more back the faster you're attacking. But also maybe it does take advantage of a two-hander where you're actually getting a little bit more back per swing. We'll have to see.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just typing a question in my chat. Someone said, considering Bethesda just announced they're opening a publishing office in Sydney, how likely do you think we're going to see an Australian or Oceanic server for ESO? And I would just explain that Bethesda isn't the developer that's making ESO. ZeniMax Online Studios is.
Yes.
So Bethesda, whatever Bethesda's doing over there, maybe it has something to do with ESO. I highly doubt it, though. I highly doubt that.
Yeah.
But will we see an Australian or Oceanic server for ESO? Maybe. I mean, I wouldn't count out. There's going to be a North American one. There's going to be a European one. I think there's going to be an Asian one. I would assume there might be an Oceanic one mixed with the Asian one, maybe. Who knows?
It's possible. Yeah, I would. Yeah, I mean, people who, if there's Asian servers, a lot of the people from Australia end up playing on those servers because you get the best ping from those, anyways.
Right.
Which kind of sucks though, because you're mixed in with people that might not speak your language. So I guess let's hope. There's no news on that though. I haven't read anything about there being an Australian server or something like that. So.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think ESO will deal with bots? That's a good question, and I don't think that's something we can answer right now. We don't know how the resource gathering and stuff in ESO works at this point. I would assume there will be bots in ESO. Now, how ZOS decides to fight that is up to them. I feel like this question is asked a lot, and really the answer comes down to what is the developer going to do about it? I don't know. If that's something that they feel is a big problem with their game and they want to fight it, there's steps they can do to do that.
Yeah. That's actually Xbox One Geek. I'm so happy you brought that up. I was just about to bring that up, but you beat me to it, Xbox One Geek. What do you think of the news that guilds can open up a shop now? Yes, guild stores in ESO, you no longer have to just join a guild to have access to the guild store. They listen to the community, and now a guild can set up a shop somewhere in the world. I'm assuming it's going to be in a major city or something like that. They can open up a store for non-guildies to come and buy wares.
And I feel like this is going to be something that is like an auction house.
I don't see it like that at all. What I see is... Oh, go ahead. You explain what you think.
I feel like you're going to go into an area, you're going to click on something, and it's going to give you a list of guild stores. I don't feel like it's going to be like you're going to have like an actual guild storefront where you walk in and go, hey, I feel like it's going to be something you click on. You're going to see a list of guild stores. You're going to click on one and you can buy stuff from there. So there'll probably be, guild stores that will be focused on different resources that, hey, I got to go buy this resource. I'm going to this guild store. I couldn't imagine it being something where you're actually going to have like a building that represents your guild store or something like that, where you're in a major city. So I wouldn't get your hopes up with that.
Right.
Maybe in the future. I just don't see that happening right away.
I don't see auctions at all. I think it's going to be all buyout, personally. I think it's going to be sell it and buy it, no auctioning, no bidding, which is good. I would rather just have I was a hardcore buyout person only anyway, and WoW. But I don't see
I'd be okay
bidding.
with that.
Yeah, I don't see a lot of bidding or anything happening at all. I figure it's going to be all buyout and sell, and I think it's going to be a lot of guilds in major cities and trade chat trying to trade old school style, where I'm trying to sell this, who needs it, blah blah blah, and I see a lot of that happening. And now with this whole guild store thing, you can have a shop. I think that it's going to be you walk up to like an NPC who is the guild store person or whatever, And when you open it up, instead of a list of guild stores like Blackwind's store or Void Guild store, it's going to be, you search for, okay, you need this rare dagger. You search for the rare dagger, and you're going to have a list of the rare daggers that are for sale, and it's going to say what guild is selling it, and it's going to compare prices, and then you're like, okay, this guild, this one's 20 gold cheaper. I'm going to buy this from this, and guilds are going to be undercutting other guilds. And I also think that it's going to be a public price for non-guild people. Like, you can say, okay, this is how much it is for all you people that are not a part of the guild. But I think that for people that are in the guild, you're going to be able to set a secondary price maybe for people so it's cheaper.
A guild discount.
Guild discount. That's exactly how I think it's going to be.
I could be
wrong. That's how I think it's going to be. I could be completely wrong. I think there's going to be like a guildy price and then a non-guildy price, for anyone that wants to go to the NPC to, browse stuff. But that's how I see it going.
Cool. Yeah, I hope whatever they're doing with the guild stores or whatever, they do it well, because it's something that could seriously really turn people off to the game if it's done incorrectly. So let's hope.
I love the fact that they opened up the shop thing. They really needed to do that, and that we're really worried about. I'm really worried about that for the world economy. But now that that's the case, I feel like the economy in ESO is going to be very exciting, because guilds are now going to be competing, as opposed to just a single guy in the auction house who just plays the auction house all day. Now whole guilds are going to be merchant companies that are going to be competing. That's going to be fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be really cool.
I'm very excited for that.
I see Zinyo's question. You mentioned a Destruction Nightblade as a possibility, but what would you use? But what about using primarily magic with the class? I think you could totally do it. You could totally use primarily magic with a Nightblade and still do some like stealth casting and just have a little bit of survivability. If you pull too much aggro, go stealth for a second, pop back out. I mean, the Destro staff in general is going to do a lot of damage, and just think about how annoying a stealth caster would be. Just think about that for 2 seconds. Super annoying. That's the answer.
It's going to be crazy, yeah.
Super.
It's going to be annoying as shit.
Do you gain experience crafting and mining? Now, I don't know if you actually
we don't know yet.
gain experience towards leveling, but you do, obviously level up your crafting. So that's a good question, Pan. I don't know if you actually gain any experience towards a level by doing crafting or mining.
And we've stated in a previous episode that crafting now will somehow help you, it'll help your character directly. Not just, okay, I'm a crafter, I can make this. But as you level up crafting, it might help skills somehow. It might open up a skill line, maybe skill points. We don't really know. They did mention that they want to tie crafting into your character more, so people want to utilize crafting more and actually do it and not have it some secondary task that's a pain in the dick. You're gonna want to do it because it will help your character. So crafting is gonna be interesting. But why don't we take one more? Why don't we take one more good question?
I see Force Hammers. This isn't like a huge question, but do you think gold you'll get from the shop goes into your bank, or does the person who put it up for sale? Now, this is why it's kind of weird for me, because I feel like them doing a guild store thing just makes it feel like a lot of mini auction houses to me. Now, again, I say auction houses because that's a familiar word for people as far as MMOs go, but
right.
It just seems weird. I mean, think about it. If you have one person selling, let's say one person's selling copper in their guild store, and then 30 other guild stores are selling copper. It's like you have to go into each guild store and try to find the cheapest price for each. Like, that's a pain in the butt, not only for the person selling it, but for people buying it. And
well, that's what I was saying earlier. Like, if they kind of go the route that I said, where, okay, you're looking for copper, so you search copper in the NPC, wherever the NPC is for guild stores,
and
the guild shop
the guild store that you're buying
and it lists all the guild stores, and then you can compare prices. I can see that working very well.
But as far as Force Hammer's question goes, if you put the item in your guild bank, if you have permissions from your guild leader to put things in their guild bank or guild store, whatever you want to call it, and put it up for sale, that money's going to go to you. It's not going to go to the guild bank.
Yeah, it should go to you.
There's no way they would be like, all right, well, you put it in the guild store. It's now part of the guild. It's not yours anymore.
I'm sure there's gonna be some guilds like that. Some crazy guilds that are all about the guild, and you're only as strong as the next link in the chain or whatever. There's gonna be people like that, but there's gonna be really lax guilds. Like I think our guild's gonna be really lax and friendly, and we're not gonna be like dicks about the guild store. So
yeah. We demand a 20% commission on anything that you guys make, off the top.
I'm cool with that. This is a good episode. This is a good one.
We had fun. We hope you guys had fun. That was it for the class skills and passives. What's our next podcast on, Soma? Do we know yet?
We're gonna just do a general news and hangout discussion, and just do a general regular old ESO show, ESO Vodcast on Tuesday. Whatever the news is, lack thereof, no matter what, we'll have a vodcast. Don't worry, guys.
Yep.
And expect to see weapon skill lines, armor skill lines, and guild skill lines, and any world skill lines as soon as we get the information.
Yep. As soon as that information is made available to the public, you guys will get it as soon as we get that info. So. All right, well, we appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much for watching the ESO Vodcast with Soma and Deagen. Again, I am Deagen, Deagen TV on Twitter, and right here, this is my channel, Deagen on Twitch. Then we got Soma, Soma JT on Twitter, and Soma Plays on Twitch.
That's me.
Thank you guys for watching. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. And don't forget, if you haven't made an account on Tamriel Foundry, go do it. That's the place you want to get your information from. I'm telling you guys, they're going to be one of, if not the first people to get a lot of the information that you're going to want, and it will be on their website. All right, That's it for us, guys. Thank you for watching. We'll see you on Tuesday.
감사합니다.